Common reporting verbs for academic writing Part 2. 10. Disagreement, or questioning. Weaker. Doubt. Example, she doubts whether she can finish the work on time. Question. Example, they questioned her closely about her friendship with the criminal. Neutral. Challenge. Example, it was courageous of her to challenge the managing director's decision. Debate means to discuss a subject formally. Example, the authorities debated whether to build a new car park. Request. Example, visitors are requested not to walk on the grass. Wonder means to question in a doubting way. Example, I wonder what he is doing here. Stronger. Analyze. Example, we are trying to analyze what went wrong. Accuse means to say that someone has done something wrong or illegal. Example, she accused me of lying. Complain. Example, lots of people have complained about the noise. Contradict means to state the opposite. Example, recent evidence has contradicted established theories on this subject. Criticize means to state the opposite. Example, the government is being widely criticized in the media for failing to limit air pollution. Deny. Example, Neil denies breaking the window, but I'm sure he did. Disclaim means to state that you are not legally responsible for something, to refuse to accept rights. Example, businesses can disclaim all or part of the new capital allowance if they wish. Discount means to decide that something or someone is not worth considering or giving attention. Example, you shouldn't discount the possibility of him coming back. Dismiss means to decide that something or someone is not important and not worth considering. Example, she dismisses the idea without discussing it. Dispute means to disagree with something that someone says. Example, I don't dispute her ability, but what I question is her attitude. Disregard means to ignore something. Example, he told us to disregard everything we'd learned so far and start again. Negate means to deny, to cause something to have no effect. Example, the increase in our profits has been negated by the rising costs of running the business. Object to means to feel or express opposition. Example, she objected that the price was too high. Oppose means to disagree. Example, most of the local residents oppose the closing of the school. Refute means to prove a statement, opinion, or belief to be wrong or false. Example, further studies are thus required to confirm or refute this theory. Reject. Example, the coach rejected him for the first team. 11. Evaluation, examination. Neutral. Appraise means to examine, to give a judgment. Example, social officers appraise the needs of each family. Assess. Example, we need to assess whether the project is worth doing. Consider. Example, we're considering selling the house. Contrast, to compare in order to show the differences. Example, she contrasted Hamilton's Federalist ideas with the anti-Federalist views of Thomas Jefferson. Critique means to review, to give an opinion. Example, students take turns critiquing each other's work. Evaluate. Example, the research aims to evaluate the effectiveness of the training program. Examine. Example, the research examined the effects of alcohol on long-term memory. Investigate. Example, we are investigating how an error like this could have occurred. Stronger. Blame means to make someone responsible for something. Example, I don't blame her for not supporting the final budget agreement. Scrutinize means to examine something very carefully to discover information. Example, he scrutinized the men's faces closely, trying to work out who was lying. 12. Suggestion. Weaker. Allege means to state that something bad is a fact without giving proof. Example, school districts are alleging that the state has not continued to finance schools adequately. Intimate means to make clear what you think or want without saying it directly. Example, she has intimated that she will resign if she loses the vote. Speculate means to guess possible answers when not having enough information. Example, a spokesperson declined to speculate on the cause of the train crash. Neutral. Advise. Example, his doctor advised him against smoking. Advocate means to publicly support. Example, the organization advocates for human rights. Hypothesize means to give a possible but not yet proven explanation for something. Example, we hypothesize that children of alcoholic fathers would demonstrate more behavioral problems. Posit means to assume, to suggest something as a basic fact. Example, if we posit that wage rises cause inflation, we should try to minimize them. Postulate means to suppose, to suggest ideas. Example, astronomers postulate that the comet will reappear in 4,000 years. A comet is a celestial body with a long tail. Propose means to offer and suggest a possible plan or action. Example, she proposes that we wait until the budget has been announced before committing ourselves to any expenditure. Theorize means to suggest an explanation for something. Example, it's easy to theorize about what might have happened. Suggest. Example, I suggested putting the matter to the committee. Stronger. Recommend. Example, she recommends writing their feelings down on paper. Urge means to strongly advise or try to persuade someone. Example, the lawyer urges the parents to take further legal action. 13. Presentation. Weaker. Confuse means to cause someone to feel uncertain or unclear. Example, you're confusing me, please repeat the directions more slowly. Neutral. Define. Example, economists usually define a recession as 2 successive quarters of negative growth. Describe. Example, he described the painting in detail. Estimate. Example, she estimates that the journey will take at least 2 weeks. Identify. Example, the research will be used to identify training needs. Illustrate. Example, the lecturer illustrated his point with a diagram on the blackboard. Imply means to communicate an idea or feeling without saying it directly. Example, I'm not implying anything about your cooking, but could we eat out tonight? Instruct. Example, he works in a sports center instructing people in the use of gym equipment. List. Example, she listed some useful reading material on the handout. Mention. Example, my wife mentioned seeing you the other day. Observe means to notice or see. Example, the inspectors observed some irregularities in his tax return. Outline means to give the main facts. Example, at the interview, she outlined what I would be doing. Point out. Example, she pointed out a few problems with the house that I hadn't noticed. To present. Example, he presented the report to his colleagues at the meeting. Remark means to notice. Example, all his friends remarked on the change in him. Report. Example, spies reported seeing a buildup of soldiers. Restate means to say again differently. Example, the company will have to restate earnings, converting reported profits to losses. Reveal means to make known. Example, she revealed her history to him because she thought it was important. State. Example, our warranty clearly states the limits of our liability. Study means to examine something very carefully. Example, I want time to study this contract thoroughly before signing it. Stronger. Announce. Example, she announced the winner of the competition to an excited audience.